Trip, what type of cells do we use in our batteries? I mean, how do we decide what cells we're going to
Well,
use?
we have moderate rate, high rate cells, and really, if you're going to see about 2.5 amp uh, pull on that battery, we're probably going to put you in a high rate cell. Otherwise, you're going to be into a moderate rate. And I don't know if that's where you're heading, Bob, but the temperature ranges, of course, are 150, 165, 180, 200. A lot of folks are asking, well, why won't you sell me a 150? For most batteries, we're going to provide you that are moderate. We're going to provide you with a 165 because we buy so many of them. We're able to give you a very competitive price so that you don't have to have your kit boxes set up for 150s and 165s. But definitely on a EM battery or EM tool, you're probably going to be in a high rate cell type. But for the most part, you're going to be in moderate rate. And it's going to, the sweet spot for us is the 165s. We sell 180 packs, 200 packs all the time. It's no different. Our gauge is only recommended to 165. We have had clients have us put the gauge in the 180s, and we've had some good information pulled out of it. But we can't guarantee anything over the 165. We use all the manufacturers. We use Tracer, Electrocam, Vitrocell. Who else?
Engineer power.
Engineer Power, excuse me. So it's whatever you want. It's up to you. But let us give you the best recommendation for the pack, because we have all the data that proves what works best for your environment, whether you run a Blue Star tool or APS tool or APS Connecticut, APS California, whatever. We sold thousands of these batteries, so we know what cell works best. So I don't know if I covered it all there, Bob.
Thanks. Another person asked, how do I decide if I should use a gauge or not? Should I always use a gauge, or should I wait for certain places to use a gauge? What are your thoughts on that, Trent?
Oh, it goes without saying. Again, over 95% of our packs are made with a gauge. Why would you go downhole without having that information available to you? It's if it's only the amp hours used. So what has happened in the past, and y'all know you're guilty of it. We're all guilty of it. Taking a battery out, not marking on the outside of the pack, so you don't know how many hours it was run. So if it didn't have a gauge in it, and you set it off to the side, that's money that you could have used had you been able to hook up to it and say, wow, I still have a lot of life left in that battery. So, I mean, why would you not go downhole with a gauge? I don't understand it. Again, it's so rare that we produce a pack without a gauge.
Is there a cost difference?
Oh yeah, and we work with you. Okay, we say it's $100 upcharge, but we're going to work with you. We're going to get you into that pack. You're going to have to buy the reader box, and we try to work with you on that. We're not trying to make any money off reader boxes. We're not in the reader box business, but they do cost us. So we want to help you get there, but you need to be set up and have gauges in all your batteries. Just like Bob showed earlier, we had clients that had their tools running on surface. What would happen in the past, they would just say your batteries don't work as well as the competitor. But here we knew you ran it the whole time. You were running that battery. So it had nothing to do with Excell Battery. It had nothing to do with the cell manufacturer. It had to do with you left it running on surface. You would have never known that without an EBL file. So the criterion gauge.
The question, do we provide spill kits? And the answer is yes, of course. We do have spill kits. We'll send you the items that are in a spill kit. We're not trying to necessarily make money on the spill kit, but we're just doing it as to help you out. So we can send you a quote on it, as well as what the items are in there. So if it's easier for you to obtain that, the materials where you're located, you can do that yourself, or we can send it to you. It's basically a 5-gallon pail with some safety equipment, respirator, baking soda, packaging for a leaking battery and such. So just reach out. We can give you more information about that. Well, I think that coming to the end of our time here, I'd like to thank you for sticking around. I know it's a little later in the day for you, and really appreciate you coming on. And actually, I didn't notice, but there are a couple more questions. But before we go off, let me just read these here. Do these batteries come in separate subs, or can they be integrated into whatever tool will be powering, or both cases applicable? I would say the answer is the batteries are specific to the tool type. Like a tensor battery cannot be used in an APS battery, mainly because the battery diameter is different, the length is different, the connectors are different. We don't supply them in subs, but the battery can be integrated into whatever tool as long as the tool is able to connect to that battery with a specific connector. So a tensor battery is not necessarily, the connector and the diameter and the length is all specific to a tensor sub, but a tensor battery is nothing inside it is nothing different from another battery, such as like a applied physics type battery. It's just
But the wiring is definitely different.
correct. Yes.
Yep.
Is there an erase function that comes with the new Criterion version? This can solve wrong date time memory overlapping problem. Well, it does. The new Criterion 4.2 does have an erase button that allows you to erase the memory after you download the data. It will not change the date time, nor will it change the capacity used. The date time can be set when you disable logging, but the erase button will not change the date time. For the person who asked this question, I'll reach out to you later to answer that. I think I see what you're saying. It's a little complicated, so I'll help you out with that later. So I'll reach out to you after this. So here's a question about connecting to the battery for a continuous period of 24 hours. How will it affect battery performance? I think the question has to do with passivation. If you connect the battery to the tool for 24 hours, well, it's going to discharge the battery, of course, but it will also keep the battery from passivating before you actually use it. So it's not a bad thing, but you are going to use up battery capacity while you're connected. Just like I showed where that customer had it sitting around for 3 weeks. Yeah, the battery probably didn't passivate, but it certainly used up capacity over that 3-week period. Okay, well, that's all the questions I see. So once again, thank you very much for attending. And please reach out to Trip or myself if you have any questions. We can certainly get one-on-one with you if you have other questions, emails or whatever. And well, have a good evening. Trip, anything?
Thank you, everybody, for joining in, and hope we can do this again very soon.
Okay, see you later.